10 new emotions that we will see in Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2, the movie that we have been waiting for years, is finally coming out this summer, and honestly, we can't wait that long to see this great movie. This is because the first movie was an absolutely magical experience, not only because it had some of the most colorful environments we have ever seen in a Pixar movie, but because of the amazing storyline that the first movie followed. We were introduced to the mind of a young girl called Riley, and as she grew up, we were also introduced to the vast world inside of her mind, where every emotion she felt coexisted with other emotions. A trip that took us to her subconscious mind and taught us about emotions and the human brain in such a great and creative, funny way. And Inside Out 2, after all of the wait, is poised to be the great sequel that will probably outshine the first one in all of its glory. Mainly because in the second movie, Riley is growing up into adolescence, and with this, the big girl emotions are starting to appear, like anxiety and other ones that we will see later into the video and definitely into the movie. And the graphics are also on a whole new level, like we saw in the trailer. They show us the characters in a more lively and bright way. In short, Inside Out 2 will be an outstanding journey in all of the senses, guys. The second movie of Inside Out is going to be showing us the story of Riley, the difference being that now Riley is going into her teenage years. She will begin to experience physical, mental, and most importantly for this movie, emotional changes where new emotions will pop out. Emotions that up until now, Riley has not yet experienced in any way, and they are coming here to stay. They're not going anywhere. These new feelings will cause a lot of chaos in Riley's mind, as she will have to learn how to live with them in a way that she has never felt or known before. But like I said in the beginning, there is going to be a whole new bunch of new emotions coming for Inside Out 2, and as we saw in the trailer, anxiety is one of them. But there are more that you probably don't know, and more importantly, that you don't know their actual nature, their personality and characteristics of why they're so important, and they're actually gonna make Riley's life in the new movie very, very different. So without further ado, let's start analyzing every new emotion in Inside Out 2 and meet the new emotions in Inside Out 2. Let's go, guys! Like I said at the beginning, in the new trailer, we can see the new emotions that will be coming out in the movie, and that is anxiety, but we all know that he's not the only one coming for the second movie. And the first new emotion that we're going to be analyzing and will come up probably in the next trailer and definitely of course in the movie is ennui. Many people haven't heard of this word or this emotion up until now, but ennui refers to the feeling of dissatisfaction and listlessness emerging from a lack of excitement or occupation. So let's not wait and see the character. This is ennui, guys. And as a character that represents this kind of emotion and these type of feelings, it was going to be obvious that his face was not going to be happy. If we look at his face, we can see that he has a characteristic bored and unhappy face. He doesn't smile at all and has a huge nose. Analyzing his droopy and bored facial expressions, we can see that they arise from the emotion that he's actually representing. Ennui is synonymous with the constant feeling of sadness and loss of interest in all of the activities that someone used to feel for a specific task or hobby. Now, this ennui's face is a phase of complete loss of interest, carelessness, and despair. We can also note the bags under his eyes, and there are an obvious reference to his constant feelings of sadness and ennui. His long and most importantly pointy nose references the sharp and dangerous character of this emotion, and it's an emotion that takes a heavy toll on the brain and as a consequence will take a huge toll on the mind of Riley. We can also see that his color is purple. Why is this? Well, in psychology, it has been proven several times that although the color purple is generally seen as something good, constant and heavy exposure to the color aggravates the symptoms of sadness and makes them worse in all of the senses. That's why psychologists advise people with these kind of feelings to stay away from the color purple. The color purple and other feels also represents the emotions of frustration and sadness and are seen as colors that promote the brain to be on a constant low mood level. We can also see that his hair is shiny, but most importantly, he's always wearing a winter sweater. This is also a reference to the emotion that he represents. The emotions of sadness, despair, and ennui have been constantly proven to get worse during winter and cold temperatures. It has been very well documented in the literature that cold temperatures aggravate all the bad emotions, as summer makes them better, and people are generally happier during these periods. That's why here Onwi is wearing a sweater. Maybe you thought that many of Onwi's characteristics were random, but nothing is random about every one of these emotions in the movie. Everything has has a meaning, and with this analysis of the emotions, we're finally seeing it, guys. A feeling that we begin to experience as we grow that we don't actually feel in our young years, although we might think we have always had this emotion within us, but it's really later in life when it appears, is without a doubt embarrassment. This emotion is something that we don't really get to experience as kids. As kids, we don't really care who's watching and who's doing what, but as we grow, we become more aware of our surroundings and our actions, which in turn creates an emotion that seeks to fight against doing such actions. And this is the same trajectory that Riley will go through in Inside Out 2. As she grows up, she will learn and feel this new emotion for the first time, and it will be very cool to see her first embarrassing moment. And if you were wondering how embarrassment looks like, here it is. If we analyze this character in depth, the first thing that comes into mind when we see him is definitely Bing Bong, the pink elephant from the first movie. He is Riley's imaginary friend when she was growing up and helped through a lot at the beginning of her life, but this character has nothing to do with embarrassment, okay? They might look similar, I agree with that, and some people theorize that they were the same, but they're not. They're different characters with different roles. Now, if we analyze the emotion of embarrassment in detail, we see that he has pink and very shy looking eyes, and of course, this is a reference to the nature of this emotion, as he represents embarrassing feelings. His face is always shy and kind of aloof in nature, and something very interesting is that he looks like he will have a very big and bulgy nose. This is because since he represents embarrassment, one of the main effects that this feeling has on the body is blushing on the cheeks and especially on the nose. This is probably the reason why his nose will be as bulgy. We can also see that his character has a pink color representing his personality. Well, this is because the color pink has always been the color associated with embarrassment, mainly because it looks like the tone and the effect that it has on the body when the emotion is triggered. The effect we know as blushing is pink in color, that's why it's represented as pink in symbolism. But a very important part of the embarrassment emotion in Inside Out 2 is that he looks like an elephant, and this is because elephants are among the only animals in the wild world who are capable of experiencing these complex emotions like embarrassment. A very interesting analysis that you probably didn't get. There are a lot of emotions that come in our lives once we go from little kids to adults. We have the ones that I spoke about earlier, like embarrassment and ennui, feelings that as Riley will face in the second movie, we have to face as we go into adolescence. These feelings are basically new to us, and in most times, they shape our personality in one way or another. And one of these emotions is of course envy. Envy will be the third new emotion of Inside Out 2, and it will sure be a funny one. Now let's see and meet the character. First we see that she will be a girl, but most importantly, she looks incredibly more different than we would expect from a character representing envy, as she looks rather innocent and shy, just like embarrassment. While envy is a negative emotion most of the times relating to mischievous personalities, here it's very different. She looks very innocent with big shy eyes that express a great amount of innocence. We can also see that she will be a young looking character with traits in her physical appearance that show us that she's a little girl, like her hair grips and much more. We can also see that she has very big eyes, and in them we see reflected a beautiful sky. This is a reference to the symbolism of the emotion of envy in the world of symbolism. A starry night reflects the beauty of creation, something that everyone is fascinated by, and most importantly, everyone envies. This also has to do with the fact that this emotion will be very good looking, as everyone will be jealous of her, and in turn, she will awaken the jealous feelings in Riley in a very new way. Another very interesting thing that we see in the emotion is the color, and we see that she has a blue-greenish color that actually is a representation of the color of envy in emotional symbolism. Here, the envy and jealousy color are greenish, but not a dark green, but rather a green-bluish color, similar to the one we see in the emotion of envy in Inside Out 2. Overall, it's very interesting to see Riley deal and live with these new emotions in a world where she will be constantly comparing herself to her classmates and friends like all adolescents do. And this emotion will be taken over many times, that's for sure. And well, my guys, that's all the dose of DJ there is for today. I really hope you guys liked this video and liked meeting new emotions in Inside Out 2. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one, my guys. Peace!